This September 20th, we will be gathering for prayer in the square. Last year, over 200 churches gathered together, as well as many from around the world. We need to begin praying today for the 5 boroughs and tri-state area, so we are prepared for the work God wants to accomplish. This month, we will be focusing on Brooklyn.
Today we're going to take you into Brooklyn, New York, where a major battle was fought many years ago. From then we're going to cover some communities in the Bensonhurst area that's been prevalent with the Italian Mafia, as well as the Bushwick area that has a high rise in gang involvement and drug activity. In the midst of all this, we're going to show you exactly what God is doing to counteract the enemy's plans right here in the greater area of Brooklyn. On August 27, 1776, the largest battle of the Revolutionary War began here in this borough. George Washington, who was in Manhattan, was informed that British forces were 9,000 in number. In reality, there were more than 20,000. It would be impossible for the 6,000 in Brooklyn to hold a defense. That day, the British flanked and overwhelmed the American army. Those that escaped fled to the defenses in Brooklyn Heights. 2 days later, in the cover of darkness and fog, Washington evacuated all the remaining troops to Manhattan. The battle was over. The monument I am standing on is to commemorate the lives of those who died as prisoners aboard British ships. It's a reminder that freedom doesn't come without a price. These freedoms you and I enjoy today. But we also know there's a greater freedom, the freedom of sins forgiven and to know and love God. These are the men and women who are on the spiritual front lines. The painting that you're looking at right now was done by an ex-alcoholic, just one of the many people Pastor Susie M.Elliot ministers to here at the Mount Paran Baptist Church Soup Kitchen.
This physical food is going to be gone in a little while, and you're going to be looking for another meal. And I've tried to get them to understand, to come back for something more lasting. So far, you know, it's very slow. In the soup kitchen, we see it looks like able-bodied men. And I want to know, why aren't you working in some kind of way to take care of yourself? It's a heart desire that we don't see these young men in soup kitchens, that they will be somewhere gainfully being employed. Sometimes there's so little you can do about the problems facing us. At least this bit we can do.
We're standing here on Minahan Street in the Bushwick community of Brooklyn, where it has been said to have a high infestation of drug activity. The building that you're looking at looks like a regular building on the street, but behind its 4 walls holds Metro Ministries, a ministry founded by Pastor Bill Wilson 28 years ago. Pastor Bill was unavailable for the interview, but we sat down with Penny, his assistant, who told us about the impact that they're having on the community.
And we do Saturday Sunday school, where we bus in about 5,000 children. We do 3 sessions of Sunday school. And then during the week, we have over 230 sidewalk Sunday school sites. So we go into the housing projects. I have one little boy named Sammy, 8 years old. He came up to me and said that one of the drug dealers had approached him, one of the local drug dealers, and they offered him money. You know, they offered these kids money to run drugs. And Sammy said, but I told him no. I told him Jesus doesn't want me to do that. And the drug dealer looked at him and said, oh, okay, all right, you're one of them Sunday school kids. And he knew. It's like, it's also turning to be a witness to the drug dealers.
The Bensonhurst area has long been known as one of Brooklyn's most notorious mafia districts. Known to many as Brooklyn's Little Italy, it has had its share of crime, racism, and spiritual resistance. Yet planted within this community is a beacon of light. Pastor Chris Gardner leads the Metropolitan Baptist Church, where they continue to live out their purpose to create a passionate pursuit of God's glory.
There's a double stronghold in a sense. The mafia is still here. My communications with the precinct, they tell me that the #1 problem they have in terms of this community is racial attacks. We got 160,000 people in this area, right? You take all of those people that attend an evangelical church within our area, we're talking about less than 300 people. We need a huge breakthrough of Christ in this community.
That day, Britain rejoiced over their victory, but one battle doesn't determine the outcome of a war. America continued to fight and won her freedom. Pastors, let's fight for the freedom of every drug addict in Brooklyn. Let's fight for the freedom of every child and every person in need. Let's also fight for the freedom against the spirit of apathy and racism that looms over this borough. For we know that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God for the pulling down of strongholds, the casting down of imaginations, and every high thing that would exalt itself against the knowledge of God. For with God, all things are possible.